Hi, welcome to Phase 1 of the Tai Chэн class series. We're going over Tai Chi static postures, and I'm here with my assistants, Kate and Anton. We're going to be covering the 3 basic stances, as well as the first move today. Let's begin. So make sure that as you're doing this, get on your grid, push the balls of the feet downward, pry the knees outward, and then from here, tilt the pelvis so you can actually see the belt line flatten out. If you've got a mirror or some other reflective surface, please make use of that. From there, drop the shoulders down, spreading the collarbones, palms on the temples, and traction vertically. So your head, your shoulders, your hips, and your heels are all in one vertical plane. This is the essence of the level stance from an external standpoint. Now from here, internally, once you've got this posture, bring the internal structure into play. Take your breathing out of your neck, out of your chest, out of your shoulders, and let it sit down in the hips. Relax your breathing so that the neck is not involved, the chest is not involved. Hand here, hand here. Breathe deep with me. And make sure as you're breathing, the lower hand is moving. And this level stance is going to be your basic position for standing meditation. Now, once you've been able to get the breathing down into the lower abdomen, relax the arms down. And again, practice rolling the shoulders down, relaxed, collarbone is spread, head and neck line long. From here, that takes us into the second stance, which would be the front stance. From here, we're going to take one foot and pivot it on the heel outward 45 degrees, shift onto it, and then keeping this foot on the same track, we're going to slide it forward just one pace, gently. From there, transferring the weight onto the front leg, knee is bent, hips are turned in the same direction that the weighted foot is pointing. So right now, this front foot bears the predominance of your weight. Make sure your hips and shoulders are facing the same direction as that weighted foot. Not that the back foot doesn't have some weight also, but you should be in roughly about an 80-20 weight distribution. So again, hips are turned, and tilt that belt buckle upward. You want to make sure that you've got that stretch going on in the back leg. Nice tall spine, and this is the essence of the front stance. From here, let's do that same thing on the other side. So again, here's the recipe. Keep the heel down, pivot it out 45 degrees. Shift onto that leg, take the other foot, slide it forward along that line, one pace, bend the front knee, rotate the hips and shoulders all the way into the front, and pull that belt buckle up. Make sure your belt buckle isn't hanging downward like this. This is because I lack strength in my lower abs and I've got tight hip flexors. I want to have the opposite. Strong lower abs, resilient hip flexors. So I should feel a little bit of a stretch in this part of my hip, and so should you at home. If you don't feel that, either you've got amazing hip flexors or you're just not actually tilting the pelvis enough. More likely than not, my money's on number 2. Okay, let's try that again. And again, from here, do it with me. One foot pivots out 45 degrees, shift onto that leg, slide your other foot forward one pace. Remember, it's got to be offset about shoulder width, and now rotate the hips into the front. Beautifully done. Pull the belt buckle up, feel the work going on in the legs, and hopefully a stretch in the hip. Very good. One more rep, the other side. Turn that front foot out, shift onto it, balance. Tall spine, relax shoulders, slide the other foot forward, one pace, drive the hips and shoulders all the way into the front, and make sure that you're tucked as opposed to untucked. Pull the belt buckle up. Very good. So from front stance, that takes us to back stance. Pretty simple. Just shift all of your weight backward onto the weighted foot. There are 2 versions. This is one. From here, I have 100% of my weight on my back leg. Notice that the knee, however, isn't buckling inward. My knee should be in the same vertical plane as the foot. You also notice that watching the arch goes from strong, pulled up, to pancaked. So keep that knee pried out, keep the hip tucked, keep the spine tall. Now this is one version of the back stance. Shift back into the front, and switch feet. And every time you get back into the stance, go through that checklist. Check that the back foot's out 45. Front foot's straight. Knee is bent, pried out. Hips are tucked. Now shift back again. Knee is pried out. Hips are tucked. Spine is tall. Make sure your butt's not hanging back like this. Bringing your butt with you. 100% weight on the back leg. Now, here's the acid test. If you can do it right, pull that front foot back without moving a hair on your head. And then put that foot back out in front. If your legs aren't that strong yet, you're going to take a much more shallow stance. Kind of like this. Notice that I'm a lot higher up. My foot's not as far forward. Starting again from level stance. Turn the back foot out 45, this one in this case. Shift onto it. The difference now is we're going to break that weighted foot rule and keep the hips all the way to the front. And this time we are going to show one-track mind. I'm going to put the toes down just in front. So your hips, shoulders are forward in violation of that weighted foot rule, but the toes are in line with the heel. Same track. This is the second variation of the back stance. Very good. Now let's go over to the other side. Heel back down, foot's on a 45, shift onto it, keep your hips underneath your shoulders. You're going to hear that repeated over and over again. Pry that base knee out, and then let the toes just come forward on that same piece of tape as your heel. Beautiful. Now, if you've never done static work like this before, your legs may be a little bit tired, you may be shaking a little bit, or even if you're a well-seasoned athlete, if you change your workout regimen, your body will be challenged a little bit. Not a problem. Make sure you hit all of the points though. You can get up and rest if you need to. And back into the level stance. And that brings us to our first move, lift and lower. Again, let's go through the checklist. Balls of the feet are pried down into the deck. Feet are absolutely straight parallel. Knees are pried outward. And again, as the knees pry outward, watch my feet. If you look at my arches from here, my feet are nice and straight. And as soon as I pry my knees out, look what happens to the arch. You get an automatic reflexive arch. So if you've got flat feet, try this. Tilt the pelvis, spine long and tall, shoulders pulled down, and palms on the temples. Just pull upward. Give yourself that active cue, that temple traction, and arms down. Perfect external structure. Now let's go internal. Breathe. So you're almost breathing against your waistband, like you're breathing against the elastic of your waistband or against your belt. And arms down at the sides, completely relaxed. And now reach forward from your wrists. As you're reaching forward from the wrists, don't lift your shoulders and don't lean back. It's like you're in a body cast, but like muscle T style body cast, so your arms are out, ready to flex. Once your wrists get up to shoulder height, slowly roll your elbows in just a little bit, drop the wrists, and gently extend the fingers. As you're doing this, use as little tension as possible in the arms, but keep your spine absolutely straight, very vertical. In the classics, they talk about the perfect Tai Chi body as a needle wrapped in cotton. That needle is your axis of movement, your spine. The cotton is everything peripheral. So there's no tension, no rigidity in the limbs. You end up with your arms straight at your sides, palms facing the floor. And relax down again, empty the wrists, pull the spine, center the breath, and take your time. Reach forward from your wrists. Hands should be totally relaxed, limp. If you've got any juice in them right now, just let it go. No effort, none needed. Wrists up to shoulder height, then roll the elbows in. Slowly drop the wrists and slowly extend the fingers. Keeping as relaxed as you can all the way through. Relax down all the way, and let's do it one more time. Slowly reaching forward from the wrists, keeping the knees pried out. Again, if just double check, give it a little bit of a pry. Balls of the feet pried down, pull the belt buckle up, wrists up to shoulder height, not higher. Check your shoulders. So let's do a check. Lift up the shoulders and drop them down. This is where they should be. Now, elbows drop, Wrists float, fingers extend. Great job. We'll see you tomorrow.